Good afternoon, women of hope, men of hope, youth of hope. I know that this event this afternoon is very much catered to the women in this circle, but I also know that the men and the youth that are out there that may be participating as well. Thank you for your commitment to hope. Thank you for your commitment to hopefulness, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak to you about my perspective of hope. My name is Mauri Melander Friestleben. You may know me as the principal that was featured in the documentary Love Them First. I was at Lucy Craft Laney Community School, which is an elementary school on the north side of Minneapolis, just off of Penn and Lowry, and a photojournalist actually, and a reporter spent a year with me and my staff and my students and my community in my building and produced an absolutely beautiful documentary out of it. One of the members of CARE 11, Julie Nelson, is very familiar with Treehouse, and she was a pest to getting me up to speed on Treehouse and the work of Treehouse and potentially being a part of this day and this event. I can tell you that after Love Them First was released, and I was so honored and privileged to be a part of it, I was also a little bit overwhelmed by the response, coast to coast, and even outside of our own country. I was hearing from people who the documentary had impacted them in different ways, and though I felt blessed to be a vessel, I was a little bit intimidated by the asks. And so I kind of retreated a little bit into my work, and I declined the invitations and the offers that came my way. But the reason why I couldn't decline this one is because when I got the note from Julie, there was one sentence that stuck out to me the most, and it said that Treehouse is making a commitment to end hopelessness in youth. And after I read that, I felt like there was no way that I could say that I didn't want to be a part of this event today and the opportunity to speak to that. And so here's my message to you. So for those of you that are making a commitment to this work, that are choosing to step in and lean in to ending hopelessness amongst youth, I have 3 suggestions for you. And these have been learned the hard and the easy way by myself and by the people that I am privileged to do the work I do my work with every day. So one is, make sure that you are full of hope. That is easier said than done, but is an important step in this journey. You have to identify the aspects of hopefulness and hopelessness in you. You have to make sure that you are grounded and rooted in hope. And on those occasions when you may not be, you need to ask to be. I very frequently can be heard saying, "I believe, help my unbelief." Because even me, someone that leads with hope every day, finds myself in days or even seasons of hopelessness. Right now, I look around and I can quickly get tempted into a spot of hopelessness with what is happening and emerging all around me, in my neighborhood, in my city, in my state, and in my country. But if I go into a place of hopelessness, I will not be able to end hopelessness amongst those around me. So I have to be in a place of hopefulness. So I encourage you, number 1, ground yourself and root yourself in hope. Number 2, identify what steals your hope. Identify the challenges and the barriers that sometimes take your hope. Sometimes we are our own worst enemy. We can overanalyze, overthink, and before we know it, we are no longer in a place of hopefulness. We are no longer in a place of faithfulness, but we are in a place of analysis that can steal our hope. Something that has stuck out to me recently and I know that I can speak to you all from this place of faith, is do you remember in the New Testament when the disciples ask Jesus about a young man who's blind, and they say, whose fault is it that he's blind? Is it his fault or is it the fault of his parents? And Jesus's answer is it's neither. It's for the glory of God. And so what I want to encourage you to do is make sure that your own analysis, your own temptation to be critical is not robbing you of an opportunity to be hopeful. Because how often do we look at someone around us, especially youth, and do we ask those two questions, whether we want to admit it or not? How often are we just like those disciples that may look at a youth who is in a spot of hopelessness and ask ourselves, whose fault is that? Did they do something wrong or did their parents do something wrong? And what if the answer is just like Jesus's and that it's neither, but it's for the glory of God? And what if you are the vessel to bring that glory? What if you have the opportunity to usher in the glory of God in that youth's time? And number 3, speak hope. Speak hopefulness everywhere you go. Everything you do, when you are at the gas station, when you are at the grocery store, when you are in the backyard for a fire pit with friends and neighbors and family, when you are on social media, speak hope. Let your words be edifying to God. Let your words be words that unify and do not divide. Breathe, bring, and speak hope in everything you do, because youth and children are very instinctive. And if you decide to turn it on only when you're with them, but it's not a regular part of your lifestyle, they will know it. And last but not least, in the idea of speaking hope, speak it to them. Now remember, you have to believe it yourself. You have to be hopeful. Number 2, remember, you have to fight against the temptations to not be hopeful. But number 3, you have to speak it. You have to speak it so much that you live it, and then you have to speak it to them. And when they speak hopelessness in and around your space, when they say those dark, shadowy things that come into their minds that are their own temptations to slip into those bad spots, speak it right out of them. You just speak it right out of them. You just tell them, you are full of light. You are full of love. You are full of life. I believe in you. I will walk this walk with you. I will be with you every step of the way. Do not let them sit in those hopeless spaces with those hopeless words coming out around them. Give them a minute to say what they need to say, but then you counter it right away with hopefulness. I know you can do it. Everything that I've heard about you all says you can do it. A lot of us are out here doing it already. You are probably out here doing it already, and it's my honor to encourage you to continue doing it and continue along the way. Thank you.